Hey, everybody. I hope everybody had a happy Labor Day. This is Rob with Carnival of Randomness. More than happy to be here. Maybe we'll tell that story. Greg is off in space or something. Ken's somewhere being Ken, probably at some show the way he's been going. But I'm so thrilled to have these people as guests. Great musicians, great people. Not from Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, but she's part of a Lonely Hearts Club. It's Annie Wells. And these are just, I'm introducing who's ever close to me, which you can't see unless you see the picture. Hi, Annie.
Hi, Rob.
And then,
having me. And
then we are thrilled. It's not the Bond villain, the man with the golden gun. It's the man with the golden sax, Jimmie Highsmith Jr.
Good morning, Rob. How are you, man?
See how he did that? And that's sort of cool. That's what we're casual on the casual on the Carnival.
James, not James Bond. James Highsmith.
I love it. And just tell a lot of people I'm sure know who you are, but just like brief bibliographical sketches or whatever, how you've come to this point.
Ladies first.
Oh, sure. Okay. So I've been writing and performing music in Rochester area for a long time. And I play the piano and sing, and I've had the good fortune to hook up with some really good musicians in town who play in my band. And currently I have Dave Arrhenius playing bass, and Mike Kaupa playing horns, and Phil Marshall playing guitar, and his son Roy has been playing drums with us for, probably almost a couple of years now. And I feel like it's, a really good combination for us. And we play often at the Little Theater, but, I played in other venues around town and also around New York State. So that's...
I have to do a shout-out always to Phil Marshall because my dad, like his last year, wasn't good with dementia. Phil came over and sung with him. Mm-hmm. And it was like those two going... He's surprised he didn't do a duel with them like Simon and Garfunkel and bring him out to the Little or something.
Yeah, Phil, he's an amazing music therapist. That's what he does during the day. And, that work has influenced his songwriting quite a lot.
I'm big on one of the things I try to push on this show during these troubled times and how we're divided is music's a good thing. It's positivity. And the one thing, my dad had a very bad summer that year. He was like such a nice man, but he would get he was in the throngs of dementia. But when Phil came in, he's singing away and just really happy and everything. And it was that's why music's like a healing power. Mm-hmm. But Jimmy, plus you have a new radio show.
Yes, Smooth Jazz Central on Smooth Goose Radio, 90.1 WGMC every Sunday night, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. A lot of fun.
More stuff to listen to. I love it.
For years, I don't know why. I talk fast. I have a nasal voice, but they've always asked me, not just them, a few other stations have asked me to do a radio show.
That's like for me with the podcast. I have a face for radio and a voice for silent films. So I do a podcast because I can do it.
Well, COVID, I had a job. Let's digress. Music. Okay, so from Rochester, born and raised here. I started playing music professionally when I was actually 13 years old. One of my first gigs was at the Glass Onion.
I remember that place. Yeah.
After I was in Andy Calabrese's jazz theory class at Oxnard as a kid.
The Andy connections are amazing.
But I've been playing music for a long time. I left here and moved to the Philadelphia area from 87 through 92, playing music down there. I moved back home here, and I've toured around the world and played with a lot of great artists, and I've recorded 11 of my own CDs, and I'm on several other CDs with other artists and rappers and producers and movie soundtracks. And I'm grateful for the doors that have been opened for me with music. And in the last, say, 10 years, I really focused on my community involvement and mentorship. So with that said, I took a job in transportation as a manager at a school bus company. And when COVID hit last year, we all got furloughed because no school. And so in the last 16 months, I've been spending time doing a lot of mentorship with a lot of inner city kids. And I enjoyed that such that I resigned from my job. So now I'm back to playing music full time again. So I have time to spend time with these kids on the streets of Rochester and try to mentor them. So there's that. So yeah, we music is important. you're right. It's a way into a lot of people's lives. It's a way.
It keeps me going. I tell people, I thank so many people, like the years I had with my dad and things. It was like the one thing I had.
Yeah, I just lost my dad in 2018, and that was between that and karate. We did karate together, and we did music together. You know, and it was a thing we did, and I'm thankful for the 40-odd years of memories with my father that I have. He died when he was 69 years old, actually. He just retired 2 years before that in 2018. But yeah, so leaving that job has given me more time to do things. Thus, the radio show now. So I'm doing the radio show. It's a lot of fun. I'm able to play a lot of cool music that I enjoy listening to and expose folks to some new artists as well.
I also think that's the great thing about local radio. It's like there's so many Scott Reagan, Mike, the Baron, who's always a guest on here. That you get to do what you like. You dig and you try to get other people.
Yeah, I've been fortunate. Since COVID, we've had quite a few shows, but my shows are always, you have to be vaccinated to come to my concerts right now. And
you can't see, but Jimmy's got his stick to bat you off if you come near him.
My COVID stick, yes.
And Annie's got her piano so she can just put the thing up and just whack you in the head if you try to come by.
No, I mean, you know, I don't want to try to infringe on anyone's liberties, but I'm sorry, COVID is real. I've lost 10 friends to COVID, so I encourage vaccination. I really do.
I'm not going to infringe on your liberty. Just stay away from me. Pretty much, that's it.
So yeah, the new CD's out, Man with the Golden Sax. We're having a party on October 9th at the Record Archive. Tickets are $30. Get you a copy of the CD as well as admission. A great
bargain at any price.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And it's my birthday this week, so buy a CD for my birthday. My birthday's September 18th.
Here we go. We'll start the Jimmy birthday fun.
Exactly.
I would have brought you a cake or whatever, but Andy would have dropped it.
I'm trying to lose weight.
And
no cakes.
One of my friends just brought me a cake, and I'm like, I love you, but who wants it? Because I'm such a picky eater. I'm a pain. I'm like a vegan.
I was talking about biking. I bike, pretty religiously. And last September, on my birthday week, I got hit by a truck.
Oh.
I T-boned by a truck in a bike lane, So I was laid up for a couple of months. And from September until March of this year, I blew up to 320 pounds. And had a heart attack in April.
Oh, welcome to the club.
So now I'm at 268 right now. So my target's 245, so no cake for me. Gotta lose his weight, brother.
You and me both. High five from here.
High
virtual because it's COVID and we're safe. But what was the bug that got both of you into music? It's not the easiest profession. Like, when did you start off and realize, like Annie and Jimmy, you said at 13. Was there an artist or was it music in your family? Or what got you and what also got you into your particular instrument? I love that question because this is like, Jimmy, Annie, you're going to play me. I don't want to play you. No, you're going to play piano. You're going to play saxophone.
Well, I started playing piano first at 6 years old. So piano was my first instrument. I still play piano now, actually. And I started that at 6. And then when I was 8 years old, Terrence Bruce was a substitute teacher in my grade school. He just finished college at Alfred. And he brought his saxophones in as a demonstration. And I was like, well, I like that. I asked my dad for a sax. I got one a week later. And I got into classical music. And that was that. And that's just history.
Were there any, artists that influenced you that you really, you listened to some, or was this you, music in general?
Well, my grandfather was a jazz musician. He played with Lionel Hampton's band, played trumpet, and my dad played jazz organ. So there's music in my life always. But no, I saw Terrence with his horns, and that, and I liked them. I liked the way they sounded. It was intriguing to me, and I wanted to learn to play saxophone. So my dad got me a saxophone, and that was that. Now, since then, I've met and heard a lot of great sax players who influenced me, but initially it was just the fact that I liked the saxophone and I wanted a saxophone.
What about you, Annie?
Oh, so yeah, there was a piano in my parents' house, and so yeah, I started playing piano probably about the same age as you, Jimmy. I remember I was in a church talent show when I was 5. And a neighbor girl showed me how to play the top part of Heart and Soul.
Oh, ding, 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 ding.
Yep, and we won the talent contest. And so yeah, I played the piano by ear to begin with, and then started taking formal lessons when I was 12. And I had this really great piano teacher, Cheryl Chester, who helped me understand chord structure, and that opened up the whole world, really, for me. And then I started writing songs. So I wrote my first official song when I was 16. And then the first place I performed in town actually was Snake Sisters Cafe. Do you remember?
I remember.
Snake Sisters. It's now Lux.
Yeah, it's Lux now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So.
It wasn't Bosco's before that, was it? That was near the Bosco's Bombay. Because I saw Dave Edmonds and Nick Lowe there at different times. It was around there somewhere.
Down the street a little bit, yeah.
When you're young, you forget. You just know it was around somewhere.
No, we just get old and forget.
Yeah, we do.
So
that's the thing
awesome.
there. That's awesome and everything. Now, this is a question I ask all musicians. We're going along last year. There's the insanity of politics, everything else, the weird world. But then all of a sudden, this thing called COVID hits, and I figure, okay, we've never been in this before. It'll be gone in a month or so. It didn't go away. How, as working musicians, did you deal with this from? I know, you had a lot of online, the virtual, because I saw them all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I that was a real learning curve for me, was figuring out the technology on how to do the live streams, and it was always kind of nerve-wracking. Is it going to work?
Oh, I had friends who were upside down on the ceiling. Yeah. Katie Morey was she'd be sideways and upside down. Yeah. The thing would die in the middle of the shows.
Yeah.
But I had my virtual rock concert tour every week, where every day I would have somebody playing that I knew.
Yeah, it was. I have to say, I mean, it was good because it kept me engaged and it kind of kept me going, and I appreciated people kind of tuning in and making comments and saying hello during the performance, and so I would watch the comments as they came in and kind of converse with people that way. But by the end, by the last one I did, I was like, oh my gosh. This is so hard, because of course you want to be with people. You don't get the feedback. That's
you get the comments, but you don't get that live, the energy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so it was so nice to be able to get back in person back in June. And now, like Jimmy was saying, you really have to, we have to be careful and really perform in places where vaccines are required, or at least masking. And
you think about, for some people who are working musicians and used to being playing 300 times a year on the road, like Dylan, who toured every year, and all of a sudden you can't anymore.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, I think I did 2 of the online concerts. I did one in March, and I did one in 2020 March, and I did one in May of 2020, and I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I did one. I have not invested in my home in the sense of miking, so I did not like the quality of sound I got in the video. And I didn't charge anything for it, but it was just a sale matter. I didn't like it.
Yeah, it's like us.
If I want to do it, I've seen other sax players do online shows, and they got the proper miking. It sounds really good on headphones, So what I do, I recorded an album in the last year. I wrote an album, recorded an album.
That's some of my friends. One of my friends recorded 4 albums, whereas I could barely do laundry during this time.
I wrote 40 songs and whittled it down to 12 for the album, literally, and I recorded. Awesome. A ton of studio work remotely for other artists around the country, around the world. I had 2 guitar players in England I worked with, a couple of bass players on the West Coast, some other piano players I worked with down south, just remotely. I would go to the studio, record the track, Dropbox to them. They PayPal me my money, and that's what I did for COVID. So I stayed busy musically, but I didn't do the amount of shows Annie did. But again, it was just because I didn't have the proper mic in my house.
I had a couple people lose it, actually. A couple friends who were doing it. We just said, I have to be honest with you, this isn't fun anymore.
No,
I appreciate that. It's like...
So what I did do, I started doing some, quote requests, I called it. So request a song, and I'll play my iwi. So iwi sound a little better via the phone. So I get these requests from Level 42, Michael Jackson, Bob Dylan, whatever, these songs. I would sequence it on my piano, get the iwi out and play it on, and record these songs for people. And that was my fun time during COVID, trying to engage people, because you miss that engagement with your audience.
Well, you're easy. You're jazz. What would you categorize? Is it it's hard for me to categorize. It's like you're on a piano.
But see, hold on. I don't. You know what? As much as I appreciate being a jazz artist, I don't say that any longer because jazz has become. You look at the Newport Jazz Fest this year. Who headlined Newport Jazz Fest? An R&B act.
I went to the Ottawa Jazz Fest, see my friends from Cuba. They couldn't come in America. Yeah. So, the headliner was that well-known jazz band, Stone Temple Pilots.
Yeah. Oh. So my point is, jazz has become a moniker on anything that's not hip-hop or country and western. Mm-hmm. So jazz, the term, I like playing traditional jazz music. Both smooth jazz and straight-ahead jazz, but I would just rather be called a musician in that case. I hate the labels we've assigned to music.
I like what I started calling all of you, like my guests, is I call you creative people. Yeah. You got to create. Yeah. Creative people have to create. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true.
If you didn't have your piano, you'd be doing it on a kazoo if you had to.
Yeah.
You just have to something in you where it's in you and you have to get it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Annie's music. I love her voice. I've always been a fan. We're Facebook friends actually, so I followed Annie for a lot of years and I don't know what to call you. I call it good music. Is what I call it.
See, that's what I use. I've used the one. I have like my good friends, the Mighty High and Dry played last
love
week.
Those guys.
Love those guys.
Oh, yeah.
Love Alan, Kyle, Alex.
Yeah.
Swinging Beef, my guy.
But people, what they will do is like I'll say. I push, as you know, doing this, all things local. Yeah. And I'll have friends like, okay, I just said, come down. Well, what kind of music do they play? I can't describe it, but it's good. It's good like music. Duke Ellington's quote, which I use all the time. There's two types of music, good music and bad music.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So,
back in high school, didn't you get you had to be the metalhead or the goth or the pop or you were sort of pushed into that? Like, say you got like a Sting album and you were like an Iron Maiden fan, you had to talk. Oh, come here. Oh, Dream of the Blue Turtles. And if somebody heard you, you'd be like ostracized.
But that's the thing. I play bass guitar also, and I play metal bass and rock bass. That's my fun outlet. People don't know that. I play on the album. I'm playing bass guitar. So I hate to be categorized in a genre of music because I like so much music, from country and western to rock and roll to jazz to R&B. I mean, I like it all. I like good music.
See, I do too. If you saw my record collection or anything else, or the shows I go to, and that's the beauty about Rochester. Is like you said, like the people who played it. We have so many great musicians here.
We do.
I had a friend of mine. He moved to Atlanta, and he loves Atlanta, but he said, "You won't believe it. You don't get half of the music here, big city Atlanta, as you do in Rochester." I literally, back in the day, before COVID, everything else, I could, if you want to go out every night, pick a music you wanted to see. And I was on my way to seeing my friend's rockabilly show after going to a ballet, or going to the RPO and then going to see a punk show at the Bug Jar, or going to the Little, seeing And the Little, I think, we'll speak on the Little a little bit too. I think that's such a great place to play.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
And so many different. But I think the thing about the Little too is it's not background music. People are listening. They are really intent on listening, which I think is really good for any musician, because I get really mad if I go to a show and people are just talking or anything. It's like, go somewhere else. You're bothering me. Yeah,
Little was a great venue. They really encouraged that. And I've seen Annie there. I've seen Bob Snyder there.
I've seen so many.
And they are a venue that encourages you to shut up, listen to the music, and I love it. So yeah.
And there's such a variety. I'm all for diversity. It's and it's such a variety. You never know who you go look down. Like you have Leo's, a pipa player, who, where do you ever hear that? The Archive Ravens, who I can't even describe them. Yeah. Scott Reagan, what does he call it? The old vault, whatever, the old chickens or something.
Oh, the spring chickens.
Yeah, spring chickens.
Yeah.
All those type of things. And how's the piano in there? Is that stuff?
Well,
I've heard little things about it, so don't get in trouble or anything. But say.
I mean, so it's a Steinway, and when I first started playing there over 10 years ago, it was in fairly good shape. It's not in such good shape right now. I would love to see it refurbished, if that were possible. I'm sure it would cost a lot. So I mean, I think we should put together a little GoFundMe for the piano.
I'm actually thinking of Green Book now because Don Shirley wouldn't play without a Steinway in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Steinway is such a great instrument, and this one needs some attention. The keys stick. The tone is not great, but I mean, I still play it, and it's okay. I mean, it works, but I'd love to see it get some attention.
Yeah, sad. I don't think we, and not to age ourselves, but we appreciate the quality of instruments like a Steinway piano. Mm-hmm. A lot of the generation today doesn't appreciate that. I've been to 2 high schools in the city. I'm not going to say what high schools they work. I don't embarrass them, but they both have Steinways, and they've actually drilled latches onto them to put padlocks on the Steinway that lock the pianos.
No.
I mean, literally.
Oh, dear.
And it's grasped with coffee stains, and I mean, full-size Steinway grand pianos that the school districts own in Rochester.
It's like a Stradivarius at Nick Tahoe's.
Are you kidding me? You know what you have here. And they don't. And that's a novel idea. I mean, I would gladly donate my band with your band, like do a concert and all the proceeds go to repairing that Steinway. Let me know. I'm on board with that, Annie, all day long. Because, I mean, that's a beautiful instrument. Yeah. And it's just really sad that I feel like people today, because everything's so digital nowadays, everything is so, they don't appreciate the quality of true acoustic instruments like a Stradivarius or a Steinway piano.
Right, and certainly that is always my preference, is to be able to play an acoustic piano. And I along those lines, I'd love to give a shout out to 75 Stetson Street.
Yes.
I was just
Tom
there.
Bruce and Roe, my guys love them both. And they have great instruments, and it's a great venue. I've played several venues there since COVID started.
Yeah. Now they have a beautiful piano there in the sanctuary.
Yes, they do.
Which I got to play a few weeks ago when we played there, and that's a great listening room. And
it is.
People need to know more about that.
That area, Stutson Street's become like an entertainment district down there. I was just at 75 Stutson last week, and it's beautiful. The sound, great.
The acoustics are
I got to really, because I got some backstory in that place. I met Tom Bruce almost 26 years ago. We played in the band. We were the first horn line in the band Brass Taxi. I was a sax player, Tom was a trumpet player, and Dave Cuff was the trombone player, one of the founding members. Me and Tom have since left the band, but they're still going strong, Brass Taxi. My daughter and his granddaughter went to School of the Arts together. So, and Tom's daughter's a singer. So Tom, retired RG&E guy, took all his retirement, mortgaged his house, and bought that freaking building.
Yeah.
His attitude was, if I die, I can't spend the money anyhow. I want to give my kids something in legacy. And started this school for his kids and grandkids. And I mean, that's admirable that he would do that. Yeah. And it's a great venue, both that sanctuary and the what used to be, I guess, the bingo hall is now another stage. Full lighting, full sound. I mean, I've done 4 shows there this year already. All sold out and absolutely wonderful. And they're also streamed online as well.
They do.
So, I mean, I really thank Tom for giving musicians a venue at an affordable cost, because it's not expensive. It's a good affordable cost.
Yeah, it is.
To showcase our talent. Plus, they have a not-for-profit. They have a kids band called All In Band. I had a fundraiser for them last month. Gives kids an opportunity to be in a band who can't in their schools. I mean, like Annie said, it's a wonderful situation, and you got to give those guys thanks for what they do, Roland and Tom.
And he's so kind.
He is. He's very kind. Yeah, I got blessed with an 1899 Wurlitzer baby grand piano in my home.
Oh, wow!
And I keep it up. I have a guy named Charlie Frieda who maintains it for me. And
nice.
So yeah, I agree with you. I love the feel and the sound of a real acoustic piano.
Yeah.
You can't beat it.
I have a 1903 Chickering.
Okay.
And I don't know if you guys know Don Golden. He tunes pianos, and he tuned it recently. Yeah. And he said if this were a car, the check engine light would be on.
Oh, really?
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it really, speaking of pianos needing attention, it really, it probably needs a rebuild.
No, I got to tune mine twice a year because I live in the city and I have an old home with the old heaters. So every time the winter comes, the heater comes on, it knocks out a pitch because I'm tuned. So it sucks. I got to get it tuned spring and in the summer, and the fall I got to get it tuned.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, they feel the weather. I remember Greg Townsend said like his 1960 guitar would not like the cold. Not like the...
Yeah.
But this Annie said that a lot about her interests. Do you have any preferences, what you play, or is like something you can like play, you play?
No, I actually endorsed the saxophone line, Eastman Winds. I endorsed their line, and they're wonderful saxophones. I mean, they're Eastman Winds. Eastman music's been around a long time. Haynes flute and Eastman guitar, they've been around since the early 1900s. Gentleman, I cannot think of his name. He's Chinese. He's coming to school at Juilliard, and he was a violin student, and he had a really not a good violin. And a gentleman who made him a violin. And when he got out of school, he took his money and started the company with this gentleman's help, and that became Eastman. It became Eastman guitar, Eastman Haynes flute, and they have a sax line now, Eastman Winds, which I endorse. So I play Eastman saxophones. Now, I mean, the flex are always the Selmers, the Yamasawas, the Yamahas, but I'll tell you, Eastman, pound for pound, is a great horn. I play it, Bob Mincher plays it, most of the Earth, Wind & Fire horn line plays it. A number of noted jazz artists play the Eastman horn. So, yes, there's a preference. Eastman wins for me.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. That's
nice.
Cool. The other thing, too, is like I said, creative people create, and there's something about doing your own music, and that's what I'm really big in. You can do covers. It's cool. A lot of my friends do. But the whole process for that, but like I think now, I keep saying back in the day, not we're old, like recording was different. We used to say bands sounded local. So like these days, you can actually get them down. They sound very professional. You don't bankrupt yourself doing it either. But how did these CDs come together? If you have a mountain album too, I don't know if you do or not.
Well, I will say I'm old enough that I recorded in the time of tape still. My first album was recorded on 2-inch tape. Mm-hmm. And I will tell you, I prefer the analog sound over the digital sound. I listened to my first album, and even though this is professionally mastered as well and done in a professional studio, the quality of sound in that first album is unmatched because of that tape sound. Mm-hmm. So as far as songwriting, I have 6 private students I teach saxophone to, and I teach them piano as well. I feel every musician, whether they're a sax player, guitar player, whatever, should play piano as well. Why? Because all the notes are in front of you. Mm-hmm. You want to know how to write music. Mm-hmm. You want to understand counterpoint and chord progression and harmonies. Mm-hmm. And the only way to do that is to play piano. Yeah, I'm not saying be Rachmaninoff or Chick Corea, but just understand basic. This is a C minor 7.
You
this is a C major triad.
At least.
and it affords you the vocabulary to write music. And I think as musicians, it's our duty to contribute to the world. And writing music is our opportunity to contribute something positive to the world with the gift we were given by God. Mm-hmm. So
that's like, where do your songs come from? Like, do they, a lot of times, just being alive, you just come up with an idea? Do they just pop in your head? For both of you.
Oh, so, well, yeah, sometimes it's an event, maybe current events that happen, or like, this song that I'm going to ask you guys to play later, that sort of informed the title of the latest CD. It's a song called Miss Lonely Hearts, and it was inspired by the Alfred Hitchcock movie Rear Window, about one of the characters in the movie Miss Lonely Hearts. And it's sort of like the reason I sort of cued into Miss Lonely Hearts is because music saves her in the movie. So there's all these different, if you've ever seen the movie, it's, Jimmy Stewart is a photographer. He's looking back into a courtyard, and there's a murder that happens, of course, and one of the storylines is Miss Lonely Hearts is by herself. She's very sad, and in the upper corner of the courtyard, there's a musician who plays. He's writing a song, and you can see that he's also very unhappy. And they play this. His song is sort of like a theme that plays throughout the movie, and so near the end of the movie, she's about to take take some pills to commit suicide, and she hears the song, and she stops. And then in the very end of the movie, you see the two of them together.
Wow.
The songwriter and Miss Lonely Hearts.
That's cool.
Yeah. So sometimes it's stuff like that, you know.
Where did Hitchcock have his cameo? Do you remember?
Oh, gosh.
Don't worry about it. We don't put you on the spot.
He's in every movie. That's right.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
He's like Stan Lee's every movie.
Yep, every movie. Even on Lifeboat, he's in the after picture of a weight loss ad.
Yes.
Everybody, you can look it up at home. I don't put my guests on it. So one thing I'd like to talk about a lot is I do think still there's like a divide in this town between original music and cover music. And one of the things, like, I'll have friends, I'll say, come and check this out. And they're like, whatever. Then they'll be like, come down here. There's an Eagles tribute band playing. I go, I can hear them any time of the week. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of times what happens with original performing artists is maybe it's smaller, but we have such loyal people who come to the shows and support all of you. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how to get other people in who just like the commercial stuff. I try and try and try, and they never show up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess for me, my recipe is 80-20. I play 80% original music, 20% covers. And that, you know, and the covers I play are songs people like, their standards, people like that they feel good about, and that's that. My synopsis on why this divide, and this, I don't want to offend anybody, but it's a couple of things. One, the school system, particularly the inner city school district, has decimated all the music programs. The kids aren't learning music anymore. They're not learning music.
See, people don't, sorry to interrupt, Jimmy, but I remember like one of my friends, and I will say this, I'm involved in Girls Rock Rochester a lot, submarine school.
Alvino's group, yeah, exactly.
Submarine School of Music.
Yeah.
I wanted to do, Herb Smith's got that group.
Exactly.
But one of the things to me is I'll always remember one of my friends who used to tell me all the time, he's like, Rob, I hated school. Hated it. Yeah. The only reason I got out and graduated was because the one thing I enjoyed was the music program. Yeah. And people just look at it as, it's nothing or whatever. It's that guy from Whiplash throwing stuff at you.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. These kids aren't getting the pedigree that, say, me and Annie got as kids. So they don't have the musical vernacular to write music. So therefore, it's easier to learn other musicians' music and play it and relive the dream through their music, like the movie Rockstar with Mark Wahlberg. Which is
based on Ripper Owens.
Which is why you're seeing a lot more cover bands. I'm not knocking cover bands. I'm not saying they're not talented.
I'm not either. I have some of my best friends. They do great stuff. They're really talented musicians.
I love these party bands like Me and the Boys, Brass Taxi. You know, they're great. They're awesome. They're awesome musicians.
Yeah, I want people to come to both, though. That's the thing.
You know, but it's just you don't. A lot of musicians. One, they don't have the pedigree to write their own music or the courage to get out there and expose themselves with their own music. It's easier to play this music, which you know everybody's going to like it, and I can get paid playing it. And I think that's what's happening. And it's not a bad thing.
No, it's not.
I want to, like Amy said earlier, Amy said earlier about learning chords and things. I encourage every musician to learn how to read music. I don't shoot anybody who cannot read music. There are a lot of great cats out there who don't read music. But as someone who reads music, understands music theory, there's so much I can do with studio work and other things of that nature that you can't do. It's like your eye. It's like the movie Wizard of Oz is black and white and it's color. It's like that. When you can read music,
that's a great analogy.
When you can understand music, understand counterpoint, understand chord progression, understand the mechanics of how a song is written. Your world is blown wide open.
Right.
So I would encourage any kid, anybody to learn just basic music theory and understand why notes relate to notes. Mm-hmm. There's only 12 notes. There's 12 notes in the world. It's all just 12 notes.
There was a secret chord that David played and pleased the Lord, though.
But the point, those 12 notes make up so much music. It's amazing. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's just the more you have your vernacular, the more you can play.
Mm-hmm.
I get to be. There's so many songs too. You love music in general, and some of the stuff you want to play by other people, and people dig it. There's nothing. My very good friend Rob Mount, he's been on the show a lot. He played for Lou Gramm. He does. That's what he does. Is he does cover songs. Mm-hmm. He does them very, very well. Mm-hmm. And I'm not shooting that down. One of the things I preach on this show is, number one, the positivity of music. Number two, though, go see what you like, but go see what you don't know, because you might like it.
I agree.
And that's what I do. I'll go, like, for the little, actually, and Ken Colombo was saying this, too, to me. He's like, okay, I'm going to go see what I like, but if I see a band I've never seen before, I'm going to go see them.
Exactly, and follow them. Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I try to do until, like, COVID hit and I couldn't go anywhere anymore.
Well, hopefully, I'm praying that things will start to get a little better, even with this Delta variant, and we can get back to some level or a new normal with the music scene in Rochester. Because I do miss performing live for people.
And we miss it, too, obviously.
The energy you get from the audience is just unmatched. It just is unmatched.
Yeah,
so.
definitely. Yeah.
And Jazz Fest obviously should come back. I know it's...
I talked a lot with Mark Icone during COVID. He's a good friend, a little brother, older brother to me, I guess I should say. And he has every intention, from what I understand, of bringing it back next year. Definitely bringing it back next year.
See, you can't live in fear in terms. I'm just going with the flow.
It was just, I think for him, we talked about it because he got a lot of negative press, and it was unfortunate. I knew he was a good guy, but logistically, with the mandates from the state, it was just impossible. It was impossible to do it.
Yeah,
so, I wouldn't have gone anyways because of the crowds.
It just he has set a standard for the Jazz Fest, and he wants to maintain that standard. And with the restrictions and the mandates, it would have been almost impossible to do it the right way. So instead of doing it, raggedy or half, why do it at all?
That's actually, I'll bring up a question too, because you actually reminded me of something from the Jazz Fest that for me, like, I saw Mose Allison. And for me, that means a lot. Is there anybody you've seen that you were just, wow, I'm really glad I saw that person? Or do you even get out to shows because you play all the time?
Go ahead, Annie.
Oh, I was just going to say, we saw Bill Frisell, and I really like Bill Frisell. That stands out in my mind. Yeah, that might have been the last.
I know he's played there a lot.
Yeah.
I'm old. They get mixed up in my head.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, as far as the Rochester Jazz Fest, I make time to see artists I like to see.
Or anybody, too,
like Annie. I love to see Annie play. I may sit in the back and not say anything, but I'm there. I support cats from Rochester. I support our hometown artists.
I can't do it anymore, but back in the day when I was younger and stronger, I would be going I'd make sure I take the week off. I'd go every day, and I'd be at the jam sessions. So, like, I'd take the musicians down to go get breakfast.
I have never been, and it's sad, I've played in the Jazz Fest, I think, 8 or 9 times now, but I've never gone to the jam sessions.
It got where there was too much, though. But the thing is, I made friends, like my friends from Cuba. We stay in touch all the time, and it's just,
I go to the shows and support the artists, but I've never gone to the jam session. And for me, it's just so crowded, and I get anxiety.
I do too. You know what I would do? I would go in the other room and just listen, because I hate crowds like that, which is the irony of the Jazz Fest.
But as far as artists at this Jazz Fest, I've gone to see who I really wanted to see, and I saw would be definitely Kenny Garrett was one who I wanted to see. Of course, my little sister Tia Fuller, who I love dearly, seeing her play, and obviously Chick Corea. I actually met Chick earlier in life because my uncle Alphonse Mouzon worked with Chick Corea, so I met Chick and Herbie and Wayne Shorter through my uncle Alphonse, and so seeing him live is awesome. I mean, one of the most impactful concerts I've seen was in Philadelphia back in the late 80s with Michael Brecker before he died. So that was impactful, and Art Porter as well before he died. Two very great influences in my music. So yeah,
because you are right about how jazz fests are. Because Willie Nelson, I love Willie, but he's not jazz.
Well, look, you had
Elvis Costello.
You had Elvis Costello. I
got to see the Scotalites, which for me was a big thing.
You had Steve Martin and his group. I mean, and they're great musicians, but it's not jazz. But it's jazz. I think what's happened is jazz has such a regal quality to it. They put it on it to make it nicer.
And I think when I hear the word jazz, I think creativity, because I think that's something you can go off. I think there's structure, but there's no structure. You could go off 20 minutes, come back, do what you want to do, just in the moment.
No, I agree, but definitely that's the beauty about music, and music is the quintessential language. I remember going to Russia and playing music in Russia, and other than learning how to say Das Vidanya, that was it.
God free Daniel.
But
I tried when I went to Russia. Spasiba you could do too. That's not
middle
that hard.
C is still middle C over there. So we can play a blues and play music all day long. can't talk to each other, but we can play music together. So music is definitely the quintessential language.
Yeah, and I got into world music again big time during shutdown, and I found a band called Daka Braka. They played here. They're like Ukraine. They make weird noises like bird noises and hit incredible stuff. Incredible stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many now genres, subgenres within the jazz genre, from smooth jazz, contemporary jazz, hard bop, bebop. I mean, it's endless, and it's continually evolving. You're seeing now cats playing jazz on harps and on electric violins and on accordions. I mean, banjos. Double flex and flex. I mean, any instrument can play jazz, can play a blues scale.
That's awesome.
So I mean, it's
but
cool.
For both of you, what's up? You're just going to keep trucking, moving on. I'll be back to see you once I'm out of my Phantom Zone exile in a month or so. More to that story sometime. We'd like to have the guests talk. Don't talk about ourselves.
Yeah, so I've got a date coming up on Friday.
Yeah, what's coming up? This is promos.
Yeah,
Say what you're doing, Jimmy. Say what you're doing, Annie.
Yeah, so Friday at the Little Theater. It's the trio. So it's me, Dave Arrhenius, and Mike Kalpa.
And what are is it masks now?
Yeah. Yep. Masks required, when you're not eating or drinking.
Well, that would be sort of like if you forget and like you try to like put the coffee or something get through the mask, which I would do, I would say.
Yeah. And then we'll be back there again in October, but right now it's really kind of up in the air,
Like I say, I'm hoping for the best. You can't do anything about it. And one thing I always do, it's like one of my main things. I go to the Little Cafe, the music, see what's playing. You can go down, go to Little, and you can see any stuff. How can we find you online? It's just Facebook, obviously, and then there's other things.
Right, Facebook, and you can find me on Spotify, and I'm on YouTube. Really, any of the streaming platforms, you can find me. For sure.
Isn't it? I mean, you can get the stuff out now. I mean, that is one thing. You can get but the thing, there's always the mixed bag because there's so much of it out there, but you can get your stuff out.
Right.
What's coming up, Jimmy?
I got a pretty busy schedule. So.
Oh, you are doing your show, too. Tune in.
Every Sunday evening, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Smooth Jazz Grooves. My show, Smooth Jazz Central. You have to listen to it online, though. So go to the website, www.jazz901.org, and click on the Smooth Grooves link for smooth jazz music.
Sounds great. Just the way you're saying it, it's like, it's going to be smooth.
Yeah, it's going to be smooth. So tonight's show's going to be special, and next week's show is going to be my birthday show. I got my birthday that weekend, so a lot of special.
Happy birthday.
Getting older. Anyhow, live music.
The alternative's worse, believe me. I know, especially after this last month.
I'm grateful, brother. Trust me. So live music. This Saturday, I'm playing a festival fundraiser for the 441 Ministry. We're playing on the corner of Parcells and Greeley, behind New City Cafe, the Coffee Cafe. I'm just playing an hour set between 6 and 7. 6 and 7 p.m. Then that Sunday that's private. The next following week, we're doing a show at Cabo Frio at the Rochester Museum and Science Center. And then the following Thursday, I'm doing a show, a Motown Review, a Charlie Atkins story. My band's opening up for it at the New Innovation Square Theater. And that's on the 30th. And then the following week, I'll be at 75 Stetson Street doing a disco concert, a tribute to disco.
Oh, nice.
With Paul Boutte on the 2nd of October, and then my release party on the 9th of October. Then we're doing a black tie gala event open to the public on the 16th at a venue on Cumberland Street. My website is www.jimmie.highsmithjr.com, and all of these events are on there with ticket information to get tickets.
You can pick up CDs, I'm sure, goodies, all kind of stuff.
All that stuff is available to you. I'm also on all the streaming sites, all the digital downloads. I'm on everything. Google me, and you'll find me, I promise.
That's the one thing for me, because I've been very safe during COVID.
Yeah.
All these different places have popped up, these music venues, while I've been away. Because I've just been sort of a recluse during COVID. It's like, more places for people to play. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But thanks you two for coming on.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
We're thrilled. Now, I don't want to goof it up, so we're having a double treat today. We're playing 2 songs. So Whoever, Annie, you're next to me, so you might as well go first.
All right.
That's how I go in order. People are like, why do you pick on people? No, they're just the way they're seated. Leave me alone. So what are we playing from Lonely Hearts Club?
Yeah, so let's do...
What kind of wine is it? It's red.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Good wine.
Well, it was good wine then. It was really good wine.
So there's the picture on the front is sort of, it's a tribute to Miss Lonely Hearts from the movie. So she's raising a glass to someone she imagines is there.
And there's a big jazz thing on the back. See the big jazz poster?
Yeah.
Which is very cool. And we were playing, you probably said it, but I talked over you.
Oh, that's okay. No, track number 4, Miss Lonely Hearts.
And I see all these are, I'd like to see that, a Colorblind James song.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's also songs that were written by Phil Marshall.
Dave Ripton's one.
There's one by Dave Ripton and one that Phil and I wrote together. Yeah.
I can actually read this because I have my glasses on, not my contacts. So, Jimmy, what are we playing from you here?
I'm actually going to play not the title track, but the first track called Mr. Mouzon. It's a song I wrote for my uncle Alphonse Mouzon, drummer with Weather Report and many others. Uncle Al introduced me to Miles Davis, Herbie Hancock, Chick Corea, Wayne Shorter, and so many other great musicians. On that track, I'm playing...
I've been listening to, for some reason, Herbie Hancock's Cantaloupe is playing in my brain all the time. I love that song.
So on that track, it's an upbeat track. It's jazz fusion based on Weather Report. I'm playing saxophone, I'm playing flute, I'm playing electrical instrument, I'm playing piano. Scott Bradley's playing keyboards.
He's everywhere.
He's also playing trumpet on the track.
Nice.
Curtis is playing drums. Carlton Wick's playing bass. And, it's a fun track. So
what is this? Is this does this have you as a character in the Cranberry Jimmy song?
Yes, so I don't drink.
Neither do I.
But my elixir is cranberry juice.
Just straight, like the plain one, nothing like with the cran grape or the cran orange or
tart cranberry juice
or whatever.
I love that tart cranberry juice. And what it is that I'll go to a club and get a cranberry juice. So like I'm having a drink, but it's not really a drink. Oh,
would you tell people it's a Cape Cod? If it's like people go, what? Because I don't drink either.
So I'm not sure about Andy, but for me, because I'm truly, and those who know me know I'm an introvert. Music was not my first career of choice. It was something I had to do because I was kind of born into it. Mm-hmm. But when I'm on stage, there's the smooth jazz guy. But when I'm off stage, there's Cranberry Jimmy, the regular Jimmy guy. And people who know me see the transformation. So Cranberry is my nickname for those who know me in my inner circle, because that's
Please be nice, anybody who listens. Do not pelt them with cranberries like they pelt the Beatles with jelly beans. Okay?
So that's a song I wrote for myself. Thus, Cranberry Jimmy.
Cool. But thanks. It was a trip. I'm glad you two came down.
Thank you.
And thank you very much. And we'll play these songs so you don't have to hear me talk anymore. See you later. Bye.
She dreams of love, sets the table for two, raises her glass to the air, imagines what he